Good morning, students. Today we are going to study chapter number 2.5, The Happy Prince. The statue of a majestic prince overlooks the city as it stands on a high column. The statue is adorned in gold leaves, jewels such as sapphires and rubies. He is saddened by the poverty in the city. He sacrifices everything he has. He is then devoid of all beauty. So, children, let us start with the chapter. The statue of the Happy Prince stood high above the city. It was covered with gold. Its eyes were bright blue jewels, and a red jewel hung from its waist. Everyone thought that it was very beautiful. "Why aren't you like the Happy Prince?" Mother said to their little boys when they cried. Sad men looked at the statue and said, "I'm glad that someone in the world is happy." One night, a little swallow flew alone over the city. His friends had gone away, but he had stayed behind for 6 weeks. "Where can I stay tonight?" he thought. Then he saw the statue. "I will stay there," he thought. "It is high up, so there is plenty of fresh air." These paragraphs tell us that the statue of Happy Prince stood high above the city. It was covered with gold. Its eyes were bright blue jewels, and a red jewel hung from its waist. And everyone used to be happy when they looked at the statue. Let us see some meanings from these paragraphs. Swallow means a migratory bird. Jewels means ornament. Bright means shining or giving out light. Brighten is verb form. Plenty means large amount. Let us see what grammar aspects can be applied here. Why aren't you like the Happy Prince? Transform into assertive sentence. You should be like the Happy Prince. He landed between the feet of the Happy Prince. "I have a golden bedroom," he thought. But as he put his head under his wings, a large drop of water fell on him. He looked up. "That is very strange," he thought. "There is not a cloud in the sky, but it is raining." Then another drop fell. "I cannot stay on the statue that does not keep me dry," he thought. "I must find another place," and he decided to fly away. But as he opened his wings, a third drop fell. He looked up and saw. Ah, what did he see? The eyes of the Happy Prince were full of tears. Tears rolled down his golden face. The face was very beautiful in the moonlight, and the swallow felt sorry for him. So these paragraphs tell us that when the swallow was resting at the feet of the Happy Prince, a large drop fell on him. He looked up in the sky, but there was no clouds. Then he watched the prince statue and was amazed to see that the Happy Prince's eyes were full of tears. Now let's see what grammar aspects can be applied here. That is very strange. Add a question tag. That is very strange. Isn't it? Question mark. Then come to the next line. There is not a cloud in the sky. Transform into affirmative sentence. The sky is clear. Then come to the first line. He landed between the feet of the Happy Prince. Identify the word clause of between. It's a preposition. Then come to the second last line. The face was very beautiful in the moonlight, and the swallow felt sorry for him. Analyze the sentence. The face was very beautiful in the moonlight. First principal clause. The swallow felt sorry for him. Second principal clause. These two principal clauses are being joined by a coordinating conjunction. And. "Who are you?" asked the bird. "I'm the Happy Prince." "Then why are you crying?" "I'm wet with your tears." "When I was alive," said the prince, "I had a heart like every other man. But I did not know what tears were. I lived in a palace where there was no sadness. In the daytime, I played with my friends in a beautiful garden, and in the evening, I danced. There was a high wall round the garden, but I did not know what lay on the other side. So I was called the Happy Prince. I was pleased with my little world. Now I am dead. So the swallow, when he looked up, inquired him, "Who are you?" he asked. He said that he was the Happy Prince. Then the Happy Prince narrated his story to the swallow. He said when he was alive, he never realized what tears were. He was very happily residing in his palace, so people called him the Happy Prince. But now, when he is dead, he can see all the unhappiness of his city. Let us see some grammar aspects from these paragraphs. Come to the second paragraph. I lived in a palace where there was no sadness. Frame a WH question. Which palace did I live in? Question mark. And they have put me up here. I can see all the unhappiness of my city. My heart now is made up of a cheap metal, but even that poor heart can feel, and so I cry. Oh, said the swallow to himself, he's not only gold on the outside. Far away from here, said the happy prince in a low voice, there is a poor house in a little street. Through an open window, I can see a woman at a table. Her face is very thin and she has rough red hands. She is making a dress for one of the queen's ladies for a dance in the palace. A little boy is lying on the bed in the corner of the room. He is very ill. He is crying because she can only give him water from the river. Little bird, will you take my red jewel to her? I cannot move from here. So the prince explained that he was able to see the unhappiness in his city, and because of that, his heart started crying, and so he keeps on crying because he is sad. Then he told the swallow that there is a poor house in a little street. He said he can see a woman making a dress for one of the queen's ladies. A little boy was lying on the bed. He was very ill. The prince requested the swallow to take out the red jewel and give it to the lady so that she can buy some food and medicines for the little boy. Let us see what grammar aspects can be applied here. See the sentence, she is making a dress for one of the queen's ladies. Change the voice. A dress was being made by her for one of the queen's ladies. Come to the next line. He was lying on the bed. Pick out the phrase and state its kind. On the bed. It's adverb phrase. My friends are waiting for me in Egypt, said the swallow. Little bird, said the prince. Please stay. The boy is crying and his mother is so unhappy. The happy prince looked very sad and the little swallow was sorry for him. It is very cold here, he said, but I will stay with you for one night. Tomorrow I will take the jewel. Thank you, little bird, said the prince. So the swallow took the great red jewel from the prince's waist and flew away with it over the roofs of the town. He passed the palace and heard the sound of dancing. So here the swallow exclaimed that his friends were waiting for him in the Egypt. He should depart from here. The prince in a sad tone said that the boy was crying and the mother was so unhappy. Then the prince requested the swallow to stay one night, and the swallow agreed. The next day, as the swallow promised, he took the red jewel and started flying towards the poor woman's house. Let us see which grammar aspects can be applied here. See the first line, my friends are waiting for me in Egypt, transformed into past perfect continuous tense. My friends had been waiting for me in Egypt. Come to the next paragraph. The happy prince looked very sad and the little swallow was sorry for him. Rewrite using correlative conjunction so that The happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry for him. Come to the next line. Tomorrow I will take the jewel. Transform into future continuous tense. Tomorrow I will be taking the jewel. Come to the next line. Thank you, little bird, said the prince. Rewrite into indirect sentence. The prince expressed his gratitude towards the little bird. Come to the last paragraph, first line. The swallow took the red jewel. Change the voice. The red jewel was taken by the swallow. Come to the last line. He passed the palace and heard the sound of dancing. Rewrite into simple sentence. Passing by the palace, he heard the sound of dancing. The bird passed over the river and flew and flew. At last he came to the poor little house and looked inside. The boy was lying on the bed. The mother was asleep. She was so tired. He flew in and put the great red jewel on the table. Then he flew round the bed, moving the air around the boy's face with his wings. Oh, said the boy, my face does not feel so hot. I think I am getting better. And he fell asleep. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince. It is strange, the swallow said. It is very cold, but I feel quite warm. That is because you have done a good thing, said the prince. The little swallow fell asleep. So, here the swallow removed the red jewel and started flying towards the house. When the swallow reached the house, he just looked inside. What he saw, the boy was lying on the bed and the mother was also fast asleep as she was tired. So the swallow placed the red jewel on the table and moved around the boy's face and tried to move the air around the boy's face. The boy all of a sudden started feeling better. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and shared his experience. The prince was happy. The swallow felt a warm feeling. Then the prince explained that it was because he had done a good thing. Let us see some grammar aspects which we can learn. Flew and flew is a repetition. Let's frame a sentence. Due to bad weather, the plane flew and flew high above, unable to find a place to land. Come to the third line of the paragraph. The mother was asleep. She was so tired. Rewrite using the correlative conjunction so that. The mother was so tired that she fell asleep. Come to the next line. He flew in and put the great red jewel on the table. Rewrite using no sooner than. No sooner did he fly in than he put the great red jewel on the table. Come to the last line. You have done a good thing. Change the voice. A good thing has been done by you. Let us summarize what we learned today. The statue was located high above the city and adored by everyone. One day, a swallow arrived into the city and decided to stay back for some days. That night, the swallow discovered that the statue used to view his kingdom and was sad. The prince requested the swallow to help him for the betterment of people in his kingdom. The swallow wanted to proceed for the further journey as his friends were waiting for him in Egypt. But the swallow decided to stay back and help the prince as he was not able to move. The prince decided to remove the red jewel from his waist and give it to the poor woman whose little boy was ill. The swallow took the red jewel and flew towards the poor woman's house and placed the jewel on the table. When he returned back, the swallow had a feeling of satisfaction. So children, do read the lesson and revise the question and answers. Thank you.